Today we crown a MAAC champion on the banks of the Hudson River in Poughkeepsie. The Marist Red Foxes in their home pool believe this is finally their time to solve the Seahawks of Wagner. The reigning and defending league champs out to prove that they are still the standard. Greetings from inside McCann Natatorium. I'm Jeff Brault alongside Shannon Ventry. We'll check in with William Rosen poolside in just a moment. Shannon, sometimes it feels inevitable in the MAAC. Marist and Wagner meeting in the league final for the 10th time in program history. Last year, these two played a classic.
Yeah, we were here front and center. The first half was a back and forth affair before Wagner put up a run to go ahead. You see Shanae Carrington cutting the lead to 1 for Marist, but ultimately Wagner came out victorious as the 2024 MAAC champions.
An awful lot of talent in the pool today. Wagner led by co-offensive player of the year, Carlota Alonso.
Oh yeah, she has an incredible amount of offensive powerhouse in her, but what impressed me the most yesterday was her dedication to her defensive craft.
Marist runs through a dominant senior center in Ella Baumgarten.
Wagner's going to try and take her away by dropping on her, but if she can stay put in that center position and get some good passes in there, she has the ability to be a game changer.
What a goalie matchup. For Wagner, it's back-to-back MAAC goalkeeper of the year, Francesca Senna.
Time and time again, she makes exceptional saves and has spectacular passes down the pool.
Across the pool, Marist Inez Sanchez was simply spectacular yesterday.
Highlight save reels highlighted by three 5-meter penalty saves.
Wagner led by Josh Hauer in his 3rd season at the helm, trying to win back-to-back titles for the first time in his tenure. He'll match wits with Marist Chris Vidal, his 9th season in Poughkeepsie, trying to beat Wagner for the first time in his tenure.
This is a huge matchup for Marist, trying to deliver on some unfinished business both for Coach Vidal and for the senior class who have yet to win a MAAC championship.
Indianapolis awaits. The MAAC final is next here on ESPN+. It all comes down to this. Number 20 Wagner against number 23 Marist for the right to represent the MAAC in the NCAA championships. Here's how both of these teams got to this game. Marist with a 4-goal win over Villanova behind that incredible effort by Inez Sanchez. Wagner just turned on the Jets, used 4 separate 4-goal runs to put away the upset-minded Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers.
Yeah, we saw a lot of the identity of both of these teams. Marist anchored by Inez Sanchez and having 7 different players score, and Wagner just using their scoring runs to win against the Mounts.
Our William Rosen had a chance to chat with both coaches before this final. What'd you learn, William?
Thanks, Jeff. In the splash zone for the last time this championship series, and I had a chance to speak with both coaches. Refs, go ahead. There you go, refs. They have to be prepped too. I had a chance to speak with both coaches. I had a chance to speak with Wagner head coach Josh Hauer, and he told me there are some nerves, yes, but this is what his team has prepped for all season long. He is ready, and he feels his team is ready. Chris Vidal, Marist head coach, also told me that his team is ready, but of course there are some nerves. Everything that Chris Vidal does for his team is for the kids. He has made them buy into the program. He says he's sometimes shocked, but they have bought in. They have to protect the crease in this one in order to make it to the NCAA championships. Jeff, Shannon?
Thanks so much, William. Let's take a look at the history between Marist and Wagner. On the left, all-time meetings. Big edge for the Wagner Seahawks. They've won 21 in a row in the head-to-head. In the championship, they've been just as dominant, winning the last 8 matchups in the MAAC tournament final.
Yeah, and today, the philosophy of each team is a little bit different. Wagner going for the back-to-back champions. They're no longer hunting a championship. They are being hunted by this Marist team whose senior class has yet to win a championship at McCann Natatorium.
A razor-thin margin, Shannon, but on paper, this is the most vulnerable that Wagner has been. Not undefeated in the MAAC regular season. A loss to the LaSalle Explorers in the final weekend of play before the championships. First time in 9 years that they didn't go without a league defeat. Let's take a look at our starting lineups, presented by SoldOut.com, the official ticket resale marketplace of the MAAC. No changes for either coach to their first groups from yesterday. Wagner going with Coleman, Kerper, Ogg, Parisi, Alonso, and Mentz. Marist, Hunt, Baumgarten, Dean, Padilla, De Beer, and Bentley. Seahawks in the dark caps with white accents. The Red Foxes wear light caps with red numerals. Strong crowd on hand in McCann Natatorium for the 2025 MAAC Water Polo Championship. Underway in Poughkeepsie, Wagner wins the opening sprint and has the first offensive possession of the day.
That's great. You see Francesca Sena pumping her fist after that opening swim-off win. These little things are going to turn out to be big outcomes.
Wagner looking for Alonso at 2 meters, and she throws it past Sanchez for the game's opening goal.
And look, this is what Alonso does, right? She drives in, she gets that open water, and not much you can do as a defender on there. If you basically touch a offensive player in that position, you're going to get called out. So great job by Alonso getting that inside water.
Chris Vidal said, Shannon, at the start, we're not going to do anything special against Alonso, just defend her one-on-one as we normally would any team's best offensive option. But he did say he has some contingency plans in case they need it. Ella Baumgarten couldn't gather it in on the far post. Marist turns it over on their first trip as Sena looks to pick out the counter. This is where Wagner is so dangerous.
Right, when we talked to both of the coaches, they had, mirroring sentiments. Wagner needs to finish their counters, and Marist defense cannot allow them to counter.
The pass to Mentz for the goal. Coleman set her up beautifully.
Right, looked like they were going to a double post. Mentz wide open, beautiful little feed there for a wind up and in.
The perfect start for the defending champions. And Shannon, Wagner is a team that is so difficult to come back against. A big key to pull the upset against the Seahawks. You can't chase the game. Marist in a 2-goal hole after just a minute and a half of water polo. Now they'll have a chance to execute on a power play. Martina Parisi is out. 6-on-5 for Marist. Wagner has spent a ton of time trying to build their 5-on-6 defense. Bentley. Dean. 7 seconds left in the exclusion. Here's Liana Hunt, the lefty, to Bentley, and she scores Marist's first goal. They take advantage of the 6-on-5.
And it's a textbook what you need to do, those cross-pool passes delivered, and then the small little pass to the point of Bentley in perfectly placing that corner.
And that will let Marist breathe a sigh of relief. Wagner turnover. Red Foxes with numbers if they hurry. De Beer driving. Baumgarten and Dean to her right. De Beer, far post, harassed by Ogg, and that's an exclusion. Another Marist power play. The shot's off the post. Danger remains. Padilla collects. Still 15 seconds of advantage. Dean, Hunt, Padilla at point. One of Marist's most powerful shooters. It's back across to Dean. And the one-timer is in. Bentley finishes again.
Absolutely gorgeous. Thread the needle of that pass. A redirect up and in at that post position. Could not have scripted that any better for the Red Foxes.
Back-to-back goals for Sammy Bentley, the sophomore from Auckland, New Zealand. And it's all knotted up in the opening quarter. Two teams, Shannon, with a similar philosophy defensively. Each will press. Try to feel out the officials, see how they're going to call it. Ogg, one of Wagner's top scorers, opens her account with a shot from 6 meters.
You see why they have so much trust in her at that top position, so far out. Head fake to the left, shoot it right.
Magali Ogg had 5 goals in Wagner's semifinal win a season ago. That her 55th of the year.
And watching her powerful shot and the confidence she has as a shooter, it's hard to believe that she was primarily a defender in her earlier years with Wagner. Francesca Sena, brave goalkeeping.
Swims out of cage to deny Marist a look, and she is so good at getting her team out in transition. Og to Milan San Pedro Tarela for the counterattack goal.
What two great outlet passes. I love the pass, the assist to the assist. Really hard to take that lateral movement, but hammered it in.
And that is why Francesca Senna is so valuable. Chris Vidal making a change. Paige Nagel on, replacing Tori Padilla. Coach Vidal believes his Marist team the deepest in the MAAC. He has 8 different lineup combinations that he expects to rotate in throughout the championship. Leela McCarroll, one of the reserves in the pool for the first time. Junior from Laguna Beach, California. Searching for Bentley, and Bentley draws the foul. Just an ordinary, the teams remain at full strength. Now the power play. San Pedro Tarela is excluded, but Marist dumps the ball under. Paige Nagel couldn't keep it above water, and the opportunity goes for naught.
Yeah, the pass was really high. It was hard to handle on that shot. Right idea because Nagel had the open hand, but again, Og is just all over that defense.
Wagner scored the game's first 2 goals. Marist answered with a pair, and then back-to-back strikes for the Seahawks. This is Coleman to Alonso, who launches high.
Yeah, you can just see what an incredibly powerful shot. That ball almost went to the moon.
And you can see the offensive philosophy for Wagner, Shannon. Try to score on the counter. If you have to play half tank, they are looking for the best shot they can get quickly.
Yeah, and their philosophy on the defense has been keep Ella Baumgarten out of set.
DeBeer cuts to center. The shot hits the post.
Right idea. It was a nice drive into the center position. A good sweep shot, just a little bit off the mark.
Wagner, a team that loves to score goals. That's true for Ana Arias, who she commits the offensive.
Yeah,
in a one-on-one with Baumgarten, she turns it over.
So many times that does go unnoticed because the arm's a little bit more underwater and it's hard to detect, but on that one you clearly saw the hook around Baumgarten.
Nagel, guarded by Og. Dean can shoot it if she wants. She'll try the top corner. Seahawks this year scoring double-digit goals in all 12 of their regular season games, 13 or more in 11 of 12, 20 or more 5 times. They love to put the ball in the back of the net. The question all season long, Shannon, how good can they be defensively? It's what Josh Hauer has worked on throughout the season with his squad.
Yeah, they've had a couple little blimps when they've let some teams score 13, 14 goals that otherwise wouldn't have. They've come away with a couple of losses, but hey, they're here, right now in the championship game where they wanted to be all season.
Bentley on the exclusion, power play for the Seahawks. They go inside to Og, and that is easy money for Magali Og.
A beautiful backhanded redirect into the goal. What a great pass. You see things are starting to get a little chippy there. It's such an incredibly physical game. Emotions are running really high. I think that Coach Vidal feels that in his players and needs to calm them down just a little bit.
Red Foxes find themselves trailing by 3. That was the margin when Marist played Wagner in the regular season all the way back on March 15th. It was 6-3 Wagner at halftime. No goals in the third quarter. Marist got as close as 2 in the fourth before Wagner scored back-to-back goals to go up 8-4, and that was effectively the game. Alonso scored thrice in that one. Og and San Pedro Tarela twice each. 2 goals for Bentley, who's already on that number today. Baumgarten just 1 goal. Marist has to find a way, Shannon, to get their star center involved.
Yeah, and even if it is not getting her involved in the center position necessarily, she does have a really strong outside shot. Maybe even try a double post, get somebody else in there. They have to do some sort of deflection away from Baumgarten to be able to get her the ball, as contradictory as that sounds.
See what the Red Foxes can execute out of Coach Vidal's timeout. Paige Nagel, Emily Shearer, Alyssa Mullane, Star Valente, a talented freshman in the pool, along with Tori Padilla. That's a poor pass, trying to really stretch it. It's off the fingertips of Kendall DeBeer, a Marist turnover, and Senna spots Alonso swimming the other way. Perfect counterattack, and Alonso doesn't waste the chance.
She sniffed out that shot attempt and took a risk getting back on offense. She had all the confidence in the world in her goalie to stop that or field block. Look at that outlet pass too. A few really hard pumps to make sure that Sanchez was coming down on the dissension and blopped it over her head.
All Wagner in the opening quarter. Shot clock winding to single figures. Marist is struggling with Wagner's press. Alex Andrist in off the bench wearing number 18 for the Seahawks. Valente has 4 to fire. A passer to Padilla. The backhand well off the mark. Boy, Wagner doing such a good job, Shannon, keeping Marist away from the 2-meter line.
Yeah, they certainly have. And I think Arias was coming in on that and tipped it off a little bit. In that case, the outlet pass was a little bit too much to the center, trying to get Alonso on the cut. But heads up play by Mullane, really swimming hard, coming away with the steal.
Rare miss for Senna. Can Marist take advantage of the miscue? Just an ordinary. DeBeer. The pass to one is intercepted. Magali Ogg got there first. Marist commits the foul. It's back with the Seahawks. These long passes, Shannon, struggling to find a home.
You can tell that there is such a sense of urgency here. Sometimes in the first quarter, nerves get the best of you.
Exclusion in transition. Padilla out. She was a good 20 meters away from the play. Marist won't like that whistle. It's a power play for the Seahawks, looking to grow a 4-goal first quarter lead. Alonso for the hat trick. A block in front. Mullane gathers it up as Alyssa Mullane makes another fine defensive play for Marist.
Yeah, 2 for 2 on the last 2 defensive stances, and look how high up she gets to tip that ball away.
About a 6-second differential on the game and shot clock. Marist to center. And it's an offensive foul now. Wagner with a chance to score the final goal of the opening quarter. A power play chance. Hansberger excluded. 5 seconds. Ogg at 7 meters. Rises up and Sanchez keeps it out. 8 minutes in the books. The reigning and defending champion Wagner Seahawks showing their mettle. They lead it 6-2 in McCann Natatorium. The 2025 MAAC Water Polo Championships are presented by SoldOut.com, the official ticket resale marketplace of the MAAC, and by Jersey Mike's, a proud supporter of MAAC women's sports, a sub above. It can happen quickly for Wagner. They score the final 4 goals of the first quarter. Magali Ogg's first. A little later, San Pedro Tarela with her first tally. Then Ogg would take advantage of Wagner's first 6-on-5, scoring a power play goal in front of Senna before Carlota Alonso ended the run with her second strike. What a find from Francesca Senna. Marist's number 1 key. Don't let Wagner score on the counterattack. Alonso says, easier said than done. 6-2 Seahawks after 8 minutes of water polo. We send it down to William Rosen.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I had ears inside the Marist huddle. It was mostly the team who was pumping themselves up. Chris Vital joined the team, and he said, nothing over the top. We got to make smart passes. So look for some smarter moves here from Marist.
Thank you for that insight, William. Second quarter sprint won by Wagner. Ana Arias gets the ball for her side in the dark caps. Martina Parisi, Casey Taylor, Alex Andrus, Carlota Alonso and Catherine Mentz in the pool. Offensive foul. Nothing doing for Wagner on their first trip of the second 80. Here come the Foxes. Hunt, DeBeer, Bentley, Baumgarten, Dean, and Nagel. Here's Rachel Dean, marked by Martina Parisi. Dean does a little bit of everything for Marist, trying to find Baumgarten, but she couldn't hang on. Senna swam off her line and made that play difficult for Ella Baumgarten.
Yeah, that's a tough pass to make, especially when you have an aggressive goalie like Senna, who's willing to go out.
Taylor trying to set up a driving Parisi, but Marist was all over it. Now it's Red Fox's turn to try to counter. Sanchez leads out for Hunt, senior from Woodland Hills, California. Valuable lefty on the 4-5 side who plays a lot on the right for Marist. Offensive foul.
Whew. Feels like we're in a bit of a swim meet already in this second quarter here.
Neither team has gotten a shot yet in the first minute plus of the second quarter. This is Ana Arias, younger sister of last year's tournament MVP, Andrea Arias. Very different types of players, but each extremely valuable to Wagner. A lot of contact, good 2-meter defending by Nagel on Mentz. Marist back on the ball. Wagner's defense, Shannon's been really good here in the opening half.
Yeah, it's interesting because sometimes teams question Wagner's defense because of how many goals they can let up. But so far, it has been so incredibly tight.
Parisi on an exclusion. That's her second. A Marist power play. Quick shot. Rattles the iron. Not too far away, but DeBeer didn't have the angle. A good opportunity for Marist goes by the boards. Mylan San Pedro Tarela in after the Parisi foul. Sophomore from Barcelona, Spain. A nation that's brought so many terrific players to Wagner, including Alonso, who has the ball taken away by Baumgarten. Now the counter, but Sanchez threw it too far ahead of Hunt. Senna swims out for it, got dunked under. And it's a Wagner power play with Liana Hunt. Whistled for the exclusion. San Pedro Tarela. Ana Arias. 5-meter in front of goal. Back to Arias. Mentz scores the first goal of the second quarter. Wagner by 5.
And you see on the weak side a little game of pass and catch before crossing it over to Mentz to hit home the goal.
5 unanswered for the Seahawks. This is what they can do in the pool in their last 129 games against MAAC opponent Shannon. They're 127-2.
They're absolutely dominating this conference, and it hasn't been without a few hiccups, including 2 years ago in the MAAC championship game when LIU upset a heavily favored Wagner. So anything can happen, but you can just see them asserting their dominance so far this game.
Can Marist get something, anything to relieve the pressure and turn the tide? An exclusion foul. Og out. Another 6-on-5. Wagner's defending a player down has been really good here in the opening half.
Yeah, it certainly has been. And, Marist needs to tighten up their passes a little bit.
Oh, tight angle, but McCarroll finds the back of the net.
Walked it in to make sure that she was able to kind of thread that needle under both of the arms. That's a really low percentage shot, but what an incredible, powerful goal.
Third goal of the championship for the junior from Laguna Beach, California. Leela McCarroll, one of the players on the Marist side, Shannon asked to play a much bigger role this season.
Yeah, she does, and she really has stepped up to the challenge, as we see there, just the confidence to take that shot with the defender's arm in her face.
Ella Baumgarten tips the pass intended for one of the two centers, packing it in front of goal.
Yeah, she's really done a great job on defense, coming away with a steal on the possession before as well.
Wagner too aggressive in their press. Lizzie Kerper commits an exclusion foul in the middle of the pool. Her second, and it's another 6-on-5 for the Foxes, looking to start a run of their own after Wagner ran off 5 straight strikes.
Yeah, that was a hard one to see. I wonder if she didn't give enough space after the ordinary foul was called.
Padilla at point, a passer to De Beer, and now McCarroll. This time finds Baumgarten for her first goal.
That's what they want, that double post, a 4-2 setup on the man-up opportunity, and look at that little pop. The little redirect up and over into the far corner.
Marist cuts the deficit to 3, just past the midway point of the second quarter. Offensive foul. Wagner struggling to get shots here in the second quarter.
Yeah, you can feel the momentum has shifted here. A few contra fouls, offensive fouls, giving the ball back to Marist, who's capitalized the last 2 times down the pool.
Nagel. Padilla, a threat to shoot from anywhere, will not get a chance. Nagel is called for the foul. Og driving. San Pedro Torreira swings it inside, searching for Coleman, and the 5-meter awarded. Coleman.
Counterattacks. Wagner does such a good job of getting that inside water and feeding the person with the inside water. Even if the shot isn't there, an exclusion will be called.
Alonso will shoot it. Sanchez can't stop it. A couple of fist pumps by the senior from Spain.
I mean, one of the top scorers in the nation, so hard to stop, and it seems like Sanchez just guessed the wrong side on that one.
Hat trick for Alonso for the second consecutive day. This the 3rd season, Shannon, in which Carlota Alonso has scored more than 100 goals.
I mean, doing it once is a feat, but 3 times is just unbelievable as a sophomore, junior, and senior.
Back to a 4-goal advantage for Wagner, but only for a moment.
How about that back-stroking shot on the back? A little bit of a pump fake, switch the hips around to give more momentum into the opposite corner. Phenomenal pass. Phenomenal catch and release.
Sammy Bentley's got a hat trick of her own. Responsible for 3 of Marist's 5 goals. There's a sprawling save for Sanchez.
Yes, we love to see it. We know what she is capable of, but this Wagner offense is going to test her.
McCarroll trying to draw the exclusion, an offensive foul away from the ball. The officials have had eagle eyes for those offensive fouls here in the second quarter, and now a timeout called by Josh Howard.
Yeah, I believe that Padilla did get kicked out on that opportunity as we look back here at Sanchez.
Inez Sanchez, spectacular in the semifinal, 15 saves, this her best of the championship.
I mean, just sprawling to that opposite side against one of the most prolific scorers in the nation.
It was Padilla who picked up the exclusion. She now the first Red Fox on 2. Foul trouble for Wagner, 2 on Lizzie Kerper, 2 on Martina Parisi. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the second quarter. Shannon, Marist has looked a much better side in the second 8 than they did in the first quarter.
Yes, they certainly have. You know, we talk about how Wagner goes on these runs and they score in bunches, and that's what they've done to extend the lead. But Marist has bounced back every single time, and you feel that the momentum is switching a little bit in the favor of Marist at this point. I think that's why Coach Howard wanted to call this timeout, not just to take advantage of the full kick-out clock, but also to calm his team down a little bit.
Had a good look at Francesca Senna in the Wagner huddle. There's Rachel Dean of the Marist Red Foxes. A lot of support for both teams here in McCann Natatorium. Senna will try to start the 6-on-5. This is where she is so valuable. A pinpoint passer. Already a couple of assists for the Wagner goalie in this championship. Mentz, Taylor, San Pedro Torrella, Carlota Alonso, already 3 goals. A passer to Mentz, and her shot sails high.
And hits the camera down. Such a powerful shot, but hey, listen, there were not a lot of clean passes on that one. Take a couple better passes before firing that shot off.
Inside 2 minutes to go before intermission. Marist is trailed by as many as 5. Five on the shot clock. McCarroll from way away skips it in. But hold on. Before the ball got into the back of the net, an offensive foul is whistled. No goal.
Just incredible, and I wonder too, maybe was she too close to be able to pick up the ball and fire right away also? A lot of these contra fouls going back and forth in the middle of the pool, it just lends to the physicality and emotions running so high in this championship game.
Arias commits the ordinary on D. Wagner extremely aggressive in their press right now. Exclusion foul. Power play, quick shot, and Marist pulls within 2. Paige Nagel delivers.
Nagel has been working so hard to get that position open. When she finally draws the kick out, really great feed to her, whip her arm around and get the skip shot in to cut Wagner's lead to 2.
Great recognition by Marist. The exclusion on Carlota Alonso as she was swimming out. They gave it to the player she was guarding, and that's easy money for Paige Nagel. Now Marist with the mid-pool pressure. 1 minute to go in the opening half. It looked like Wagner was going to run away with it, but Marist has turned the tide in the second stanza. Another Wagner turnover.
Really important right there not to allow Wagner to score and to come away with an extra possession to end the second half.
McCarroll on San Pedro Torrella. Over to 1 for Nagel. Overshoots McCarroll. And there's the turnover, another offensive foul. Ton of offensive fouls here in the second quarter. An exclusion on Baumgarten. A Wagner power play to end the first half. Shot clock is off. Seahawks with plenty of time to find their best shot. San Pedro Torrella shoots it, but before the shot, somebody grabbed a suit. It was Paige Nagel. 6 on 5 as the first penalty expires. 3 seconds before the half ends. San Pedro Torrella passes to Mentz, and the shot comes after the horn. So Wagner will start the third quarter with 10 seconds of an advantage, but they let a golden scoring opportunity go by the by at the end of the first half.
A huge win for the Marist defense on that stanza heading into the second half.
2-goal game to 6. Let's take a look at how we got to that score line. Wagner began the game on fire. They went to their leading scorer, Carlota Alonso, on their first offensive possession. And Alonso wasted no time ripping the rope. One trip later, Catherine Mentz scored to make it 2-0 Marist off the opening sprint. But the Red Foxes had a response. On a 6-on-5, Samantha Bentley puts one home on the 4-5 side, then gets a goal from the 1-2 side, also on a power play to tie the game at 2. Then the Seahawks did what they do best, rattling off 4 straight goals to end the first quarter. Og, then San Pedro Torrella, no chance for Sanchez. On a 6-on-5, Magali Og would score her second right in front of goal. Then Carlota Alonso would add her second goal, not long after to make it 6-2 Wagner after a quarter. How about Francesca Senna setting up the Alonso goal to end the first quarter? It was Wagner first in the second stanza. Catherine Mentz with her second goal. 7-2 Wagner. It looked like the Seahawks would run away with it, right? Wrong. Leela McCarroll scoring for the Red Foxes. That made it a 4-goal deficit. Then not long after, Ella Baumgarten redirects it past Senna, and it was 7-4. Alonso would add a 5-meter penalty, sending Sanchez the wrong way. 8-4 Wagner, but Marist another response. They scored the last 2 goals of the first half. Bentley netting a hat trick, and then Paige Nagel goes quick after an Alonso exclusion, short side against Senna to make it 8-6 at intermission. William Rosen has had a chance to chat with the coaches. We'll hear from him in just a second. But first, Shannon, great second quarter fight back from Marist when it looked like Wagner might put him away early.
Absolutely. You know, we always talk, this is what Wagner does. They go on these scoring runs, they score on bunches, and they start to bury teams. Credit Marist for not giving up and not allowing Wagner to run away with this one.
Now time to chat with our poolside reporter, William Rosen.
Thanks, Jeff. I had ears in both huddles during halftime. I spoke to both coaches. Chris Vidal of Marist told me that he liked the momentum heading into that latter half of the second quarter. Some calls were on their side, he told me, but they have to continue getting each play to stand for each play. No home run plays. That's what he told me. I had a chance to speak with the Wagner coach, Josh Hauer, and he told me he has to improve on those 5-6 matchups. That's what's going to give them the victory here today.
Thank you, William. Nothing has been decided in the MAAC championship. What's on the line, Shannon? A berth in Indianapolis to represent the MAAC in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and that's so important for this senior class here today. They have yet to accomplish that. They have yet to accomplish a MAAC championship crown. They want to do so for their head coach, Chris Vidal, who has not yet beaten Wagner in his tenure.
5 MAAC championships in Marist program history. Their last in 2021. Wagner did not compete that season. They had so many international players on their roster. With the COVID-19 pandemic still lingering, they just couldn't get enough players into the United States to field a team. So Wagner opting out of competition. Marist winning the championship over VMI that season, the last time they took the league trophy. Wagner, the first possession of the third quarter. Og and Arias play pitch and catch on the right. The last of the Marist exclusion from the second quarter. Over, an even strength goal for Wagner to begin the second half. Alex Andrist with her second of the tournament.
And really beautiful setup by Wagner. You have the kick out corner in the close near side corner. So they swing the ball around, not allowing Marist to make the necessary adjustment to defend it properly, and it still seemed like a power play opportunity when the ball went in.
So the second half starts much like the first. A quick goal for the Wagner Seahawks. Their advantage back to 3. Baumgarten, hook shot, does not trouble Senna. Good 2-meter defending by Casey Taylor.
Yeah, really pushing Baumgarten out of that 2-meter area. She was more like 4 or 5 meters out, and a hook shot like that just isn't going to cut it from that distance.
Arias marked by Dean. Taylor running point. Arias sliding left. Takes a shot, and Sanchez rising up to knock it away. What a sneaky shot by Arias. Looked more like a pass.
Yes, absolutely. And really, on any other goalie, that's a goal. But Sanchez read that like a book and came away with another tremendous steal.
And as Sanchez, tremendously strong lower half, trained as a synchronized swimmer as a youth. Exclusion foul on, no, teams remain at full strength. Baumgarten just swimming over after committing the ordinary to mark on Arias. That skip shot missing wide. Marist press, forcing Wagner far away from the 2-meter line.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. The press has been really effective on that possession for Marist defense.
Dean hounded by Andrist. And an offensive foul away from the play. The officials have really had eyes for that today. Arias driving. Mentz on her left. Bentley swims over. Pass down to one. Secured by San Pedro Torreira. And Dean slows her up. Halfway through this Wagner possession. Ogg. She'll try to score from anywhere. Into center. Mentz off the back foot. Kept out by the bar.
What incredible distance she got away from her defender, popping up. Just the release and the follow through was a little bit off, but holy cow.
Offensive rebound. Wagner. Arias over Baumgarten, too tall. Good defending by Baumgarten to force Arias to fire high. Marist weathers the storm. Exclusion foul on Ogg, her second. Marist power play. Dean. Bentley. DeBeer. Rachel Dean. Back to Bentley. 3 goals to lead. Marist exclusion over, and Alonso swims in to take the ball away.
Wow. Like a bullet out of that corner. What a substitution to make. And just DeBeer unaware of the time left on the kick-out clock.
Good swim by Bentley. Errant pass intercepted by Dean. That's great transition defending by the sophomore. Now Marist with numbers. A 3-on-1. Hunt passes. Nagel finishes.
The counter leads to another counter advantage for Marist. 3-on-1 opportunity. Really a great pass to find and wide open Nagel. What a shot.
Marist Chris Vidal famously does not keep a stat sheet for his team, so we asked him this week, like, who are your leading scorers? And he thought about it. He ran down a list of names. He goes, you know, Paige Nagel's also scored some big goals for us.
Yeah, she absolutely has. We saw it yesterday, and she is just an all-around tremendous player on defense, does all of the little things. You see her getting really physical today, getting beat up a little bit, and doing some beating of her own.
Shot clock in single figures. Parisi, a passer. Mentz shot smothered by Sanchez.
Anticipated that turnaround. Far corner shot beautifully, as Sanchez does.
Nagel's pass to center. Hansberger can't collect, but draws an exclusion. Marist power play. Coleman commits the foul. Dean takes the shot, and the deficit is one.
No bigger shot this game than that one. What a beautiful pass, catch, and release to that far corner. Senna had a handle on it, but Dean was able to feed her to the corner.
The senior from New Zealand with her first goal of the final. It was 7-2 Wagner early in the second quarter. Marist roaring back past the midway point of the third.
We've been saying it all tournament. Going on runs is what Wagner does. But Marist is like, hey, this is what we do. And that is what Inez Sanchez does. Makes spectacular save after save time and time again.
Not fooled by Alonso's off-speed shot. It is loud in McCann Natatorium right now. Just an ordinary. There's the exclusion foul. Nope. Also, only an ordinary. 7 to shoot. McCarroll can't shoot that. Now there's 4 on the shot clock, and Paige Nagel will try it, but Senna is there to save it.
Good attempt, and you hear the crowd yelling, shoot, and I think that was from the Wagner faithful, trying to trick her into taking a shot and turning the ball over.
There was a little confusion in the pool as to what some of those whistles were. Now Wagner will go on a power play. Nagel's second. Seahawks trying to get a little cushion. San Pedro Tarela. Andrist. Parisi. It caroms in. The iron kind to the junior from Naples. Critical goal for the lefty Parisi.
Hey, look, and that is not the shot I would have taken there. I looked for these clean, crisp passes, but Parisi had a good handle on it on a lefty's strong side, decides to take it on her own to extend her team's lead by 2.
24th goal of the year for Martina Parisi. And Wagner's got a little breathing room. A battle on the 4-5 side, and a big stop by Senna.
And look at all of the white water in front of the goal. No one is giving up easily. They're fighting tooth and nail for any inside water, any advantage their team can get.
This has become a game fitting of a championship final. Exclusion foul on the freshman Victoria Kiss. Another Wagner power play and another man-up goal. Carlota Alonso, her 4th of the day.
A little bit of a tough angle, but on her strong side, she wants that ball. You see her waving her hand for it. She knows she has the confidence and the power and the speed behind it.
Josh Howard told us earlier, Shannon, it always comes down to 6-on-5, doesn't it?
Sure does. That's what we're seeing here today. A lot of whistles, a lot of kickouts called, and so far, Wagner has done an excellent job of executing.
Marist had to use so much energy to cut their 5-goal deficit down to 1. You wonder what is left in the tank to get over the hump. Back-to-back strikes for the Seahawks. Their lead again 3 with 1:15 to go in the 3rd quarter. Here's Kendall DeBeer. Marist just 2 seconds, and all they can do is throw it into the corner. Wagner's defense right now has kicked into another gear.
It certainly has, and now it's time for Marist to kick theirs into gear, trying to hold off Wagner from scoring one final time.
Alonso, great find. Kerper off the bar.
Had the separation from her defender, but Kerper just couldn't get the release in. Her body was off balance, so that is a tough one. You have to really focus on the release and the wrist snap down.
10-second differential between the game and shot clock at the end of the 3rd quarter. DeBeer fighting right, rising up, but missing the goal. Not too far away.
Not too far away, but Wagner bench jumps up in excitement. That is a huge stop for them.
Plenty of time for the Seahawks. Valente slowing the break. 8 seconds. Coleman. Kerper. 4 seconds. The pass for Alonso tipped away by Dean, and that is how the 3rd period comes to its conclusion. Marist gets within 1, then back-to-back power play goals. Parisi and Alonso have Wagner up by 3 going to the 4th. So presented by SoldOut.com, the official ticket resale marketplace of the MAAC, and by Jersey Mike's, a proud supporter of MAAC Women's Sports, a sub above. Midway through the 3rd quarter, Marist made a run, trailing by 3. An odd man rush. Great pass. Paige Nagel puts it in. That cut a Wagner advantage to 2. Marist would get as close as 1, courtesy of Rachel Dean, before the Seahawks took advantage of a couple of power plays. The lefty Martina Parisi first, and then Carlota Alonso ending the 3rd quarter, scoring with her 4th goal of the game. 11-8 Seahawks going to the final 8 as we send it down to William Rosen.
Thanks, Jeff. I was in the cuddle for Josh Howard's team, the Wagner Seahawks, and he told me heading into the 8-minute mark here in this championship game, they are going to try and force you. They, being Marist, keep your head up, stay controlled, and we can get the victory. Shannon, Jeff?
Thank you, William. Fourth quarter sprint, won by Wagner. They go 4 for 4 in the final, but nearly a mid-pool turnover, and yes, Ella Baumgarten able to secure possession for Marist. Lobbing it ahead, looking for Dean. Senna swims out, and there is a foul on Senna. Marist can set up some half-court offense. Padilla, Bentley, DeBeer, Alonzo too aggressive. DeBeer can rise up and shoot, instead leaves it for Hunt, the lefty. Back to DeBeer, now the shot from distance. Senna tipped it out, Marist keeps possession.
What a powerful shot, and this is what Wagner's going to do. They are going to continue to put the pressure on Marist. They're going to try to make them take those outside shots, and they're going to have some of their defenders ready to go on the counterattack when those shots are taken.
You just get the sense, Shannon, that the first goal of the fourth quarter is going to be critical. Bentley to Baumgarten. Nothing doing on the turn, but draws the exclusion. Casey Taylor out. 6 on 5 for Marist with a fresh 30. DeBeer rifles it in.
We've seen that laser of an arm and time again, and good for her. Missed the first one in this possession, but to take it again, get up in that water and go to the far corner. A 2-goal deficit is much better than a 3-goal deficit.
First goal of the final for the sophomore from South Africa. Here's Ana Arias. Grace Coleman. Coleman tries it. Doesn't trouble Sanchez.
Now, right at the middle of the cage, you know she is game for that.
McCarroll fighting through Mentz. Bentley doubled. DeBeer 4 to fire. And that's all Marist can do, throw the ball into the corner as Wagner's defense gets a stop.
Yeah, they have to throw that ball as far away from Sena because Carlota Alonso was ready on that counterattack to get a one on goalie.
Alonso, Andrus, Coleman, Arias, Wagner double post. Coleman just tried one from here. Pass for Parisi, who doesn't have the touch.
Tremendous defense once again by the Red Foxes, forcing a shot that the Seahawks don't necessarily want to take.
Baumgarten at half tank. Alonso swims out. McCarroll tracks it down. Marist turns it over.
A tug of the suit at that post position. Another offensive.
And how about Senna starting the counter? The lefty Parisi. Padilla swimming left. Parisi collects. Passes to one, and Andrist scores.
On her strong side, decides to give it up to her teammate Andrist, who is wide open. The defenders chose to leave her open, and she's going to make them pay to put the Seahawks up by 3.
How about that pass by Martina Parisi?
Really beautiful cross pool and a great catch and release at the same time.
Marist has to come out of the pool after scoring the goal. Might have got, yeah, her shoulder popping out, just kind of grabbing her right shoulder there after that howitzer of a shot. Marist can't hang on to the ball. Wagner by 3 with possession. Another counterattack opportunity. Again, Senna dimes out a perfect ball. Arias one-on-one with Sanchez, and Arias finishes.
Again, it's this Wagner counter that Senna has, those perfect outlet passes, threads the needle right in front of Arias, did not even have to let up on her speed for a minute, cuts to the middle, picks it up, and goes far corner.
Timeout, Chris Vidal. Every time Marist makes a run, Wagner has an answer. Shannon, it is so tough to beat the Wagner Seahawks. Look at how dominant they have been. 11 MAAC championships, far and away the most all-time in league history. They have appeared in 18 of the last 22 finals.
Right, and again, it's just dominance, you know. And last year, it was about getting back on top after they were upset the year prior by LIU. This year, they understand that they are the ones being hunted, and they do not want to relinquish that title. As we've seen here today, they have just not allowed Marist to claw back into the game, no matter how hard Marist has tried. But give credit to the Red Foxes. Anytime Wagner has gone up by 3 or 4, they have found a way to come back and get back into this game.
A 4-goal deficit with 4:32 remaining. That is the task in front of the Marist Red Foxes. And Shannon, there are few teams tougher in the NCAA to make a late comeback against than the Wagner Seahawks. They are built for situations just like this.
They certainly are, and you know, we have talked about how they have such offensive powerhouses on this team, but they've proven they can play both ways in the defense, and this press has been phenomenal.
What defending. Coleman takes it away from Baumgarten.
Just a little flick of the wrist, kind of passing it back to herself, but Baumgarten was trying to draw a foul.
Senna puts it on the right arm of Mylan San Pedro Torreira. Now Carlota Alonso. 4 goals, most of any player in the pool.
See Ella Baumgarten kind of cherry picking back a little bit. You see a game of 5-on-5 being played on your screens right now.
Offensive foul whistled.
What they were hoping for, to try to get something sparked on offense.
But Wagner was able to use a lot of their shot clock. Content to see those seconds wind away. Marist tries to set up their center. Senna swims out, and there's an exclusion foul. It's on the goalie. Senna's out, and Marist scores. Ella Baumgarten beats Og, who was slow to replace Senna. The over-aggression costs the Seahawks.
And really great heads-up play by Marist, getting that quick goal in there. They know that the field players have to go back and pack the goal. Field players, though, even though when you're playing that goalie position, you can only block it with one hand. So take that quick shot. They're on their backs and cut this lead. Try to get another defensive stop and turn it into another offensive possession for Marist.
Og and Arias on the 4-5 side. Coleman at point. Alonso the center. San Pedro Torreira and Kerper off to the left. Og. Arias. 6 to shoot. Og swimming back. Sanchez tips it out and kept it in the pool. That's a critical job by Sanchez not to let that ball fly beyond the line as it ends the Wagner possession.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw Grace Coleman at the point position holding on to the ball. She nods to Og to get back because you had Rachel Dean coming back hard and fast on the counter. Just it didn't break Marist's way to get that counter goal.
2:42 to go in regulation. Looking for Nagel, but there's an offensive foul. Nagel grabbing Arias, transition, exclusion. Nagel can't believe it. That's her third.
Yeah, again, it's just such a physical game. Emotions are running high. There's so much that we can't even see what's going on underwater, the kicking and the pulling.
Arias flips to Og. Marist zoning it up. Teams back at even strength. Kerper tries it, but it's high of the mark. Marist kills the penalty. Just over 2 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. And timeout. Chris Vidal. He's got one remaining.
A really crucial possession for Marist right now. Wagner is in the driver's seat, up by 3. You make this a 2-goal game, things change in how Wagner handles the ball once they eventually get the ball back.
Certainly not academic, Shannon, but Marist's margin for error is quite slim.
They need to take care of the ball, and they also need to score fast because time is not in their favor right now. They don't need to press too much. Don't take a wildly inaccurate shot or from a terrible angle. Get a smart shot off, but let's try and do that relatively quick.
McCarroll, Bentley, Dean, Padilla, Baumgarten, 5 of the 6 field players in the pool. Dean swimming. Dean fouled from behind, and that's an exclusion on Anna Arias.
Such a smart play to spin around and get that inside water to draw the kick out.
And now Arias impacting Padilla, a second exclusion called on Og. It's a 6-on-4 for the Red Foxes. Tori Padilla, tight angle, not a lot of space. Flips it over to DeBeer, but it's blocked in front. Critical block by the Seahawks. Timeout, Wagner.
Was there no bigger defensive stop for the offensive player of the year, Carlota Alonso, than that one? Packing into the goal, the cross-pool catch and release, and what an incredible field block. Helping out her goalie, Santa, and Santa giving her a pat on the head, saying, hey, thanks, pal.
It may be the defensive play that wins the championship. How fitting. Carlota Alonso, long one of the most dominant offensive players in the MAAC, has been challenged this year by Josh Hauer to be equally as dominant on defense, and that field block may just be the play that sends Wagner to Indianapolis.
You know, like we said in the opening, of course, we have to talk about the goals. I mean, just phenomenal to score 100 goals in 3 consecutive seasons, but her defense has just been so incredibly impressive. She's willing to do those little things to make her team successful.
Marist does not convert the 6-on-4, and it's Wagner ball with a 3-goal lead and just over 90 seconds remaining in regulation.
And again, we know Wagner is a team that likes to score fast. They like to really put the hammer in to their opponents. I do think we're going to see them take a little time off the clock here, but still get a good quality shot in.
Updating the exclusion board, that last foul on Magali Og was her 3rd, so she is out. Paige Nagel has 3 for Marist. Og, Wagner's 2nd leading goal scorer, but right now they're not thinking about more goals, just bleeding out the final 90 seconds. No better place for the ball to go than the hands of Carlota Alonso. Arias fouled by Padilla. Shot clock sits 16 as Arias restarts the play. Coleman, San Pedro Torrella, 5 on the timer. Pass to the far post, Alonso plunges the dagger.
Wow, again, just getting your best player open, backstroking into that open water, and check out that pass. So hard to come from post to post for Sanchez to defend that, almost there, but a shooter like Alonso, that's so hard to defend.
Fifth goal of the final. 113th of the year. Who else but Carlota Alonso on both ends. The field block in the 4-on-6. And the goal to make the margin 4 with less than a minute to play. Bar in for Liana Hunt.
Liana Hunt, again, did an excellent job of getting that inside water, inside the 2, going for the ball. Beautiful pass also.
First goal for the lefty Hunt, senior from Woodland Hills, California. But likely too little, too late. Wagner went up by 5 early in the second quarter. Marist trimmed that deficit down to 1 in the third. But then Wagner with the final 2 goals of the third quarter to take a 3-goal lead to the fourth that they will not relinquish. Chris Vidal takes his final timeout. A number of veterans on his side. He wants to salute them in their final seconds of collegiate water polo. You see an embrace between Inez Sanchez and Ella Baumgarten. Sanchez, just a junior. Baumgarten will end her career with 192 goals, 5th most all time in Marist history.
Just an absolute wonderful, incredible career she has had as a Red Fox, as this entire senior class has. Victoria Padilla, Rachel Dean. It's hard not to get emotional in these type of situations for anyone, you know, getting eliminated from a championship tournament, knowing this is the last time they're going to be playing together, some of them last time playing water polo.
Claudia Lee, a senior in, taking a shot. And all that's left to do is run off the final 4 seconds. Wagner makes it an even dozen. Back-to-back champions of the MAAC in 2025.
Proving why they deserve to stay up on that #1 podium. You just see the screams of excitement and exhilaration by this team. They deserve to win this game. They were dominant on offense. Their defense and their press was outstanding, not allowing Marist to claw back.
A big hug for Josh and Ashley Howers, the first to meet them. Anna Arias, how about the job that the husband and wife duo have done? Upset in this championship 2 seasons ago. Last year they wanted to reset the standard, and this year it was about making sure the rest of the league knows that they're not there yet, and the MAAC still belongs to the squad from Staten Island.
Will they keep that standard sky high? All of the support staff in the pool from top to bottom. AD Brendan Fahey is in the house too. And again, just what a great job Coach Josh Howard and Ashley Howard do. They have this expectation of excellence. They recruit athletes who want to play together, and they get them to play together.
14-11, the final. Wagner put Marist on their back foot early. They were down 7-2 early in the second quarter. Did yeoman's work, Shannon, to fight back, but in the end, just too much. Carlota Alonso on both ends of the pool, without a doubt, the championship sub-above player of the game.
Yeah, she does it all. I mean, just incredible. This counter-attack type goal is her bread and butter, but did fantastic work on defense as well.
As critical as the 5 goals were, Shannon, the late field block on a 4-on-6 defensively may have been the play that sealed the championship.
This one right here could have been a game changer. It would have allowed Marist to come within 2 goals with about 2 minutes remaining. Would have put more pressure on this Wagner team.
Wagner head coach Josh Howard has made his way to our William Rosen. They will speak in a moment. He's got to go shake hands. Great sportsmanship between Wagner and Marist, 2 longtime rivals. The wait for the Red Foxes to solve the Seahawks continues. It is Wagner's 29th win in a row against their opponents from Poughkeepsie.
And such an emotional battle in the pool. You know, it was very physical, it was very emotional, a lot of kickouts. No one wanted to go home, no one wanted their season ended, and it just, you know, lends to what incredibly close teams were in the pool today.
The bracket complete. The top-seeded Wagner Seahawks heading to the NCAA tournament. They're off to Indianapolis to represent the MAAC in 2025.
And what a fantastic tournament this was. I mean, the MAAC conference as a whole was so incredibly deep. You had 2 3-seeded teams on paper heading into the semifinals. Villanova really given a run yesterday. I mean, kudos to all of these coaching staffs for really elevating their level of play.
Memories that will last a lifetime. Team photo after a championship. You know, when you've been as dominant as Wagner has over the last decade plus, people will always ask you, does it get old? Does it look old?
Absolutely not. Each one feels better than the next, I'm sure. It feels fresh, it feels new. And look at the Wagner faithful coming out. We heard them all game long, all weekend long, really. So much support traveling up to Marist.
This one may have been as difficult as any. A late regular season loss, their first in more than a decade. But when it came to the tournament, it was all Wagner once again. William Rosen has corralled Josh Hauer, and we'll now hear from the victorious head coach.
Coach, congratulations, wet and appropriately wet. Congratulations on a well-fought season and a fantastic MAAC championship. What is your reaction to this championship?
It really started with the defense. We're just so excited, but what we've been preaching all year, the defense and the counterattack, and it really showed, and it came through, and the kids played amazing. The girls played fantastic. Credit to them. They did an amazing job, and they've just stuck with it all year and just did the process, and hitting the standard every day was fantastic. So really appreciate it. Did an amazing job.
You preached to me defense the last 3 days, and today it really came down to defense, especially late in that fourth quarter. What are you telling your team as you go into Indianapolis, and are you going to continue on the defensive side?
Oh, definitely. Like, defense is everything. We talk about it all the time, and soul-crushing pressure defense is how we play. That's the intensity we play with, and we counterattack like our hair's on fire. And nothing's going to change about that, how Wagner water polo plays.
What is your message to the Staten Island faithful that came back out here today in Poughkeepsie?
We love you guys. We appreciate it. Couldn't have done without you. Thank you so much.
Well, congratulations, Coach. We'll see you in Indianapolis.
Thank you. Thank you.
Close us out here in Poughkeepsie.
Staten Island to St. Elmo's. Book your table now. Wagner's going to the NCAA tournament as champions of the MAAC in 2025. That's all from McCann Natatorium. We remind you that all games there on the ESPN family of networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. For executive producer Harrison Baker, producers Nick Skidmore and Jack Darling, technical producer Mark Phillips, director Ryan O'Donnell, my broadcast partners Shannon Ventry and William Rosen, and all of our fabulous ESPN crew, I'm Jeff Brault saying so long from Poughkeepsie, the Queen City on the Hudson. Wagner beats Marist in the final. 14-11 into the history books. This has been a presentation of ESPN.